Hi, I'm your transparent. I have a whopper for you today, ghoulies, ghosties, and assorted creepy crawlies.
When climate change is flooding our streets, poisoning our air, driving up healthcare and disaster costs, how can the EPA justify abandoning that duty to protect Americans to appease polluters under the false flag of economic growth?
Following the law, Section 202 of the Clean Air Act, where does it say anything about fighting global climate change? Loper Bright, Supreme Court case, you familiar with it?
No, I maybe others are. I'm not, but let me ask you.
But that's really important. As a member of Congress, Loper Bright says that we as an agency don't have the authority to get creative if Section 202 of the Clean Air Act
No, but you don't have, excuse me, you do not have the right to say climate change does not exist, that it's a hoax, and that's where this administration is coming from.
I understand you're upset that you don't know what Loper Bright is. Do you know what the major policies doctrine is?
I'm upset because
You know what the major policies doctrine is?
You know what, let me just
You're a
say
member
this
of
to you.
Congress. You should know.
Well, you have moved from someone who defended the environment to all of a sudden
Being very defensive about not knowing the two biggest landmark Supreme Court cases of the last year with regards to your question.
You are very defensive about changing your policy and your positions with regard to the environment.
Okay.
Now, you just tell
Do you want me to tell you what the two biggest Supreme Court cases are of the last few years?
This is what I want you
Michigan
to tell
versus
me.
EPA,
Whoa.
West Virginia versus EPA.
You know, you're here because you need money from us. So halt for the second and wait for the questions and answer the questions.
Well, I answered your question,
No, you
and
didn't.
you didn't like my answer because
did
you
not
don't know what
answer the
Loper Bright is,
question.
because you don't know what the major policies doctrine is,
Chairman,
because
is
you're
this
asking me,
answer questions?
you're asking me about Section 202 of the Clean Air Act, and you don't read it. You don't know what it says.
Listen, and what you want to do is to deny.
No, I actually read the law. I do my homework.
Really?
You're just somebody who likes to have the microphone on. You know what I have to do? I read the law.
No,
I
Mr.
read the
Chairman,
Supreme
I don't
Court
have to
cases.
listen to this, and I would say
No,
this,
what you should do
that
for your
this-
constituents is actually read statute.
This budget is at real risk.
Read
Let
your
me tell
Supreme
you,
Court.
This is the Appropriations Committee.
Oh,
you come here.
you care
and
about
you
science?
tell
Now
us-
you're threatening to defund it?
Oh my God! No, you don't fund
Because
science.
you don't know what Loper
You
Bright
are
is.
climate
Because you don't know what the
deniers.
major policies
You are
doctrine is. Your
climate
message
deniers.
to our folks at the EPA is that you want to
I don't
defund
have
us.
to listen to this BS.
The BS. You think I made up these cases?
Yeah, I think you have made up a whole
I made
lot of
I made
BS.
up Loper Bright. I made up West Virginia versus EPA. I made up Michigan versus EPA.
Woe is right. What are you doing? Why
Wait,
are you helping
whoa.
polluters?
So, I'm going to touch on a few of these because these were used as a straw man argument to not answer Deloro's question and make her seem like a reactionary fool. So here we go. Though the Clean Air Act does not expressly use the words global warming, it does state that it is the duty of the administration to determine how much harm greenhouse gases and emissions may cause to public health. Once done, it is the duty of the administration to take steps to remedy these issues. These would include working toward the reversal global warming, which is caused by greenhouse gases. The court cases he mentions, Michigan versus EPA and Virginia versus EPA, have to do with grandfathering in existing refineries into environmental protection laws. Neither of those have anything to do with the question Deloro asked. And now, we come to the Loper Bright decision. The Loper Bright decision came about when a regulation required marine fisheries to carry federally mandated monitors to stop overfishing. When funding started to dwindle, the National Marine Fisheries Service found themselves unable to pay for all of the monitors. Because of the ambiguity of some of Congress's requirements, it was ruled that, if a consensus on the requirements couldn't be reached, rule would be deferred to the agency's interpretation. In other words, if the federal law was too ambiguous, the agency could decide. Lee Zeldin is trying to use this subtlety in the wording of the Clean Air Act and the precedent set in the Loper Bright decision to ignore his job as the administrator of the EPA. He's using lies and ignorance to be derelict in the duties he was selected for. That's the very nature of this administration in a nutshell. Anyway, stay in drugs, don't do school. Bye.